'cause it's clear. You know it's clear. You're in for some adventures and at least a few good beers. So come get lost in a story with us on a plane or train or in a bus. Bring your curiosity and never topography.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the No Compass Podcast, episode 2, where we're going to take on Hatchet. I'm here with the same guys I always am, unfortunately, with David and Aaron. What's going on, guys?
Cool.
Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers, man.
That's a lovely introduction there.
That was really
glowing
nice.
on that. Glowing, even.
I know. Did you rehearse that like in front of the mirror earlier today?
I did. I was shirtless, and it started off with a wink and a kiss, and I just said, "Matt, you're a winner today." That's exactly
you,
how
Matt.
it
You looked
started.
at yourself and
Good for you.
Yeah, good for you.
Exactly. Well, for the just to get the dot the T's, cross the T's, dot the I's
I like
out
it
of the
the other
way. Yeah, dot the T's. For anybody who's just joining us, we like to talk about anything and everything beer related, and we'll throw in some book reading in there too. This week we took on Hatchet, a great read, and we'll get more into that here a little bit later on. But for starters, what have you guys been up to? Haven't seen you guys in a while.
Yeah, man. Well, we just cleared the holidays. It's early January, depending on when you're listening to this. People could listen to this in the future. It's really weird to think about that. But anyway, yeah, we just cleared the holidays.
They're gonna have to listen to it in the future.
That's true.
Aaron's
Happening is in the future.
That's
So
really
if you listened in the past, it'd be so crazy.
That's my goal, actually.
That would be a very weird use of your time if you had a time machine just to go back and listen to something. Not that if you're listening, you shouldn't turn it off. Keep going. We're really going to be great. But yeah, so we just got back. My wife and I, we went down to Southern California, Joshua Tree National Park for the holiday. Some hiking down there with our dogs, some camping, and it's been raining a ton here, so just kind of been hunkering down and got out today and did some nice, got some exercise and got some air. But otherwise, yeah, it's been pretty chill.
What about you, David?
I also visited a national park last month, Hot Springs National Park in Arkansas. Spent some time there, did a little bit of hiking there, took my nephews on a hike, went to watch the horse races, tried some Arkansas beer, had some Arkansas food, did the Christmas thing with the family, which was great. New Year's was fun.
I didn't even know some of that stuff even existed in Arkansas.
Is the horse racing part of the national park?
I feel like that's something very, very like.
I mean, the town itself is a national park, so I don't know if it's within the park limits or not. But where I hiked was not technically. I mean, it's just right outside the city on an actual mountain. But
cool.
And they're real creative with their mountain names in this park. It was the North Mountain, so it was the mountain to the north.
They're real good at learning too. Yeah. In Arkansas.
That's where I learned how to read.
Oh well, I don't know that we all read the same book.
We just lost
to our fans
one
in
person.
Arkansas.
Our one listener in Arkansas is
Who learned
I just used a speak and spell for this last book.
I'm impressed that you read all of Hatchet on a light bright. That's really impressive to me.
Yeah, exactly. It was tough. Him going to the library every day and getting someone to read it to him.
I got some looks, but they were very welcoming. And
yeah. Did you get the nap too? Because that would be a really good
Why do you think I went there?
Well, that's fair. I'm glad you had a good time.
I was like, can I use 2 carpet squares?
Greedy as ever. Matt, what you been up to, bud?
Myself, I'm here in Denver, in Colorado, and
we get
just
it.
really just getting
Denver, Idaho.
You say that, I'm gonna have to look that up later, and I'm gonna bring it up. There is other Denvers, but no, just some general hiking around here. We're obviously very close to the mountains, so I didn't go to any of the state or any national parks lately. They're just crazy busy, but we've been getting an insane amount of snow. Like I think this past 2 weeks ago for Christmas week, it was negative 25 at one point here. Makes you kind of question a lot of things about your life when you go outside in negative 25 weather. You really start questioning the clothes the literal outdoor clothes that you have been spending money on for the last year.
Like a good amount of money on.
Exactly. But other than that, just really trying beers. As many we had a couple new breweries open up in the metro area, and it's been great. I'm going to shout out Sunroom Brewing because that place, I was crushing some beers there, and it was great.
Nice.
But you're actually not allowed back there, right?
No, I'm definitely not allowed in the place. They do have a nice patio. It's unheated. Yeah. I call it a patio. They call it a sidewalk. It's a
municipal parking lot.
I can picture Matt bringing his own beer to a brewery.
Yeah.
Just drinking it outside.
Yeah. All of a sudden,
I'm set. I'm good. I don't need anything. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Yeah. I'm the asshole, like Jesus.
Drink 45 off the line and suddenly I'm the asshole.
Exactly. Well, guys, we've gone 7-ish, 8 minutes into this, and I need to crack a beer. You guys drinking anything?
Let's talk about beers.
Let's, for sure. I'm talking about that.
Yeah. So what we try to do here is typically we want to try to, after we've read the book, the story, listen to it, anything, if there's a particular beer that we have in mind that it made us think of it or that we want to match or pair to it, that's typically what we try to do here. We can go as far in as, beer geekish as to try to find a flavor, a scent, anything like, or a style that matches a story. Or you can be a human and really just try to find a can that tells your idea of the story.
100%.
That's
Well said.
Usually the easiest way, because half the time you may find a beer, drink a lot, and then forget that beer completely. So,
correct.
David, let's start off with you. What do you got today?
So I'm actually very excited about this one. And like I was telling you guys off air, it was kind of serendipitous that I found this.
That's real serendipitous.
It's from one of my favorite local breweries and somebody I knew. It's not very close to where I live, but somebody I knew was going there. And I said, hey, I will give you money to bring me back some beer from there. So I started looking at the list.
Arkansas?
This one is not in Arkansas, although the breweries there are not close to me either. This is from St. Elmo Brewery.
Nice.
Which you guys know I love. It is a
big can.
hoppy lager, and it is called Tundra.
You son of a bitch. That sounds so good.
Yeah.
So, the inspiration behind that was, this book is based in Canada. Without spoiling too much, kid is in the wilderness of Canada. And we all know there are tundras in Canada. When you hear Tundra, you think Canada. I was like, one of my favorite breweries, a beer called Tundra. Got to get it.
For everyone who's listening, David has a whiteboard and he's drawing lines connecting all of his ideas. Canada, Tundra, St. Elmo.
It's a real Pepe Sylvia moment over here.
Yeah, Pepe Sylvia. You got it.
I prefer Russell Crowe in The Beautiful Mind.
Sure.
Well, there's what you want to be and there's what you look.
Yeah, you're very Pepe Sylvia right now.
Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah.
Cool.
Aaron, what do you got?
So Matt really hit it on the head of sometimes I'm reading something and I'm like, oh man, that makes me think of this or that. And sometimes I go in there and I'm like, what can makes me think of what I read? And today is a better version of that. So this is out of Oakland, California, across the bay from us here in the Bay Area. This is Federation's Brewing Lost Soul lager.
Very appropriate.
So
that's a sweet looking can too.
A good looking can. I was going to say the artwork really stood out. I saw so obviously people probably can't see unless you're the three of us. So it's got a boot sole imprint over. It'd be really weird if stop looking at us. And then there'd be there's like mountains in the background, like cartoony but nice, and then a boot print that says Lost Soul, but SOLE obviously. And as we're going to discuss in a little bit here, the kid's lost. So I don't know what else. It's kind of
spoiler alerts.
I mean, if you didn't read this in 8th grade, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, there's a reason why we tell people the book at the end of the podcast so they can read it.
You have to guess along the way.
Yeah,
that was why we read The Hobbit this month. The Hobbit, everyone.
We started The Hobbit last year, and now we're going to talk about it.
That's right.
That's awesome. Those are some great beers. I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of what Aaron said. I went in looking for. I was very happy. I was able to keep it with a Colorado beer. I went with Flight Co. Oh My Guava Pale Ale. It's with a plane.
And an
damn it, dude! I look for a plane so bad.
Yeah. This can design is so on the nose of this of this story. I literally couldn't pass it up.
Well
I actually
done.
haven't even tasted the beer yet. It's
Well, I'll tell
fucking
you,
great.
I've tasted
Yeah.
mine and it's phenomenal.
Well,
Yeah.
if it tastes like farts, it would also be appropriate.
That is true. That is true. Or if we're really sticking with the story themed, each of us should have about, I don't know, 150 words just describing the beer. And a couple of those times, the description should just be the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, without
yeah.
sentences in between, just over and over again.
No. Gary Paulsen is a great author, but there are I don't know whether to say he's great at descriptions, or
He has a way with words.
he has a
would say
style.
that-
He has a very much a style with it.
He paints you a word picture.
Yeah.
And granted, it is. I mean, if we're like talking about it too, like it is a young adult book, so flowery language is maybe you can only do so much prose for a teenage audience, probably.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
despite what my English teacher tried to make us read, you can only do so much. Thankfully.
Only so
We
much.
should do an episode about books we had to read in high school and grade
Yeah.
school.
I can't remember the name of the book. I had a book when I was a kid that it was. My parents were never really those parents that like really got involved with what was going on with anything at my school. But I brought this book home, and I remember my mom reading
This isn't
it.
a therapy session, Matt.
Yeah, well, one of the
How does
kids,
it
like
make
the dad like hits the kid with the truck and like breaks his legs, and all of a sudden my parents were up in arms. And first off, this was like 96. Like this
Yeah.
was just stuff that happened. These were just things that happened in books. This was way before anything.
I
But,
wanted to talk. That's kind of what I want to get into at some point. Is like
oh yeah,
the books that we read back then. I was like, this was not what a third grader should be reading.
no, but this, I mean, this definitely. Well, yeah, we'll definitely get into that. That's part of the whole unpacking of this book. It is aimed at, it's not a child's book. I would say this is more of a teenager's book,
For sure.
but it how it deals with certain things. I think Gary Paulsen does a very good job with how, because he doesn't linger on. There are certain topics that he crosses, but he doesn't linger on them like I feel like other books might, where
Right.
look this, but also in it, because he keeps it in the mindset of these are things that would go through anyone's mind in
Right.
the scenario that they're in.
I thought he did a really good job with that as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
Especially like I don't say unstable, like not from but like the developing mind of a 13-year-old, right? Of like
Yeah.
you're not thinking like you're already and when you're 13, you don't already think rationally, and
Yeah.
now you're adding this situation on top of that, and so like the way that the main character is like bringing certain like things to mind with his like parents and all this other stuff, it's like very. I really I don't know even. It's one of those things I feel like you read it as a kid and then you read it as an adult and you get two different experiences out of it. And I thought that was really.
And before we jump, before we go too far, I'll just I'll kind of just start into, for anyone who is listening and hasn't actually gone through the book or even the series. So you make a long story short, this is a series of books that kind of have an interesting aspect and twist to them, because so we're reading this, the book we're talking about today is Hatchet by Gary Paulsen. If you're an audiobook listener, that's very much myself, it's narrated by Peter Coyote or whatever. And he did very like the narration was great on this one. In essence, this is a story of, it's really almost about as good of coming of age book as you can get. The base premises of it is you have a 13-year-old boy who is going through some things in life. His parents are getting divorced. He's not handling it very well. He knows different sides. The story's not fully transparent to both parents. And he is traveling. He's having to travel between mom and dad. His dad works in the oil fields in northeastern Canada. And shit goes down while he's in this little Cessna plane, literally, and the pilot, who he briefly got to know, suffers a heart attack and passes away. And so this kid ends up surviving the plane crash, and then ends up having to spend, what is it, 54 days? Yeah, 54 days in the wild on his own. And it made me, first off, David, is this is it Les Stroud? Is this Survivor Man's origin story, by the way?
It could be. It might be.
He's Canadian, but I'm just
He
throwing
is
that out there.
Canadian.
Yeah. But so this kid's name is Brian, and he goes through some incredible like survival kind of moments in his life, and you really do see him kind of change, over the amount of time, over the 54 days that he's there. He is a completely different human, and he's gone through things that he will literally change you for the rest of your life. It literally is. It's a story about a kid who was put in situations where he had to become an adult very, very quickly. And what drew me to this book is this whole series was always a favorite of mine growing up. When we ever talked about, we always, threw this idea around about, reading adventure books and not necessarily just adventure books, but or books that like had an impact on our lives and things like that. And it's like this series I actually haven't read I've read this one, and Brian's Winter is the alternate ending to this one. And I'll get into that more later, but these books really do kind of like grab you and hold on to you, and they're kind of, obviously they're written for a teenage, mindset and, age group, but there are different aspects of it that kind of can go to adulthood. Like you can find yourself in situations, uncomfortable situations, unexpected situations, and you literally the whole kind of the I would say like mantra of this whole book is stuff has to get done, and he just keeps telling himself that because stuff just has to get done.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you say that, because in this situation, a survival situation like this kid, and he's 13 years old, right? But no matter how old you are in this situation, you have to do the exact same things no matter how old you are. You have to do the same things to survive every day. You have to find food, you have to have fire, you have to have shelter. That doesn't matter how old you are. Maybe your intellect or your creativity is a little bit different, but it's the same situation no matter who you are. You may do things a little bit differently, but you have to do these basic things to survive.
I think that's like a really interesting piece of the whole puzzle, right? Is that like he's not good at it at first, or even like well into it. He screws up a ton.
Yeah,
and I think that's super compelling to me. Of like you don't have this character who's like just ends up Les Strouding his way through the book and like doing like
he'd be lucky to Les Stroud his way through the book.
Like he ends up doing a lot of like. He ends up screwing up a ton, and that's
trial and error.
Yeah. But he and sometimes he barely makes it out. But like that, like you said, like not only do you have to do it, but you have to pick yourself up and do it again if you don't do it right. And there's some. I think that's like there's the young adult piece in that, right? Of like the lessons learned. But yeah, I like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very compelling. It's not a long book by any means. In fact, you could have started it at the beginning of this podcast and you might be done by now. But
yeah, it's not a long book.
But it's very fast paced, which I like about it. It does get very descriptive, but at the same time, there's not a lot of like downtime. In survival, obviously there is a lot of downtime, but this is very fast paced. It's really interesting to me the way he figures things out, and things just kind of gnaw at his brain until it clicks, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's what I need to do." And that's really interesting to me that he kind of figures that out. It reminds me a little bit of like the movie Castaway, where he crashes. It's literally a plane crash, and he's on this island by himself, and he knows, he's a smart, intelligent human, but he knows nothing about survival, and you just kind of see him trial and error his way through it, and that's what Brian does in this book.
Yeah, the one of the things that kind of was, especially as an adult reading this back, is Brian, for 95% of the book, has no one else to talk to. So the narration is all happening in Brian's head. Everything, the everything that's going on is really coming from inside his head, and it's his thoughts. So you do have to kind of take that into consideration when you're talking about this book, because he's not talking to anybody,
Right.
kind of thing. There's no you're not watching a movie, so there's no out of body context that's happening right
Right.
now. And that was, and I mean, he when it comes to like what you were saying, David, with the survival and anybody would have to make these choices and stuff. He referred multiple times throughout the book, he understands that he's a city boy. He he refers to himself as a city boy multiple times, but he always kind of harkens back to, I remember seeing this in the marketplace, or I remember seeing this on TV or whatnot.
Right.
And you're right. He kind of takes everything as almost approaches everything as like a puzzle. And it does, I think towards the end, or at the end, not only is he a different person, but that whole way of thinking changed him to the point to where he literally doesn't speak until he's thought about what he's going to say next, as for the rest of his life, through adulthood, kind of thing. And that's pretty interesting to me.
So I think I totally agree. So I had actually something that harkened back to this exact, when we were preparing for this podcast. I was reading this guy's who's like a survivalist, and he's done these like purposeful, not part of a plane crash or anything, but these purposeful 2 to 3 month survival episodes where he essentially walks into the wilderness and does these things. And I can't remember the exact, I don't have it with me, but I don't have the exact numbers, but essentially there's like these points in time. So a few hours in, a few days in, you like start to lose sense of like you start to lose sense of time, and like time kind of blurs together. You do a little bit more, like a week or two into the whole experience, now you start noticing things you wouldn't have noticed before, as far as like how the animals move and how the sun reflects upon the certain thing, and you have a certain. And then like the last part that kind of goes is like your sense of self, where you're now just kind of blended into the surroundings and you're part of your world. And I thought that was interesting, because that was a completely different person talking about this experience that was extremely similar to how this character acts within the story. And and Brian kind of has this same experience where he's going from I miss my family, like I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, to like just surviving. And like it's like Castaway, it's like all these other things, and it's like I don't know, there's something like it's very like, it's almost like this I don't know if a universal truth is maybe way too much to put into it, but it's like this like,
don't be that guy, universal truth.
That's just really like what I feel like is probably true for all of us.
What was in the beer again?
Matt, you had the guava one. I don't remember.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Damn it. Yeah. But no,
cool.
That's great. That's actually a great just break point here. I don't know about you guys, but I need another beer.
Break.
Yeah, beer break.
That would be appropriate.
All right, welcome back. So I did want to mention, as far as kind of the book and the series of, it's always referred to as the Hatchet. I think it's a Hatchet Adventures, but it's literally just the series of books. But did y'all know that this book was actually turned into a movie back in like 1990?
When I was looking at the thing, looking at the book and like searching for it to read it, I saw that there was a movie recreation, and like you said, it's all internal monologue.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine I've never seen the movie, but I can't imagine it's good.
Neither have I. I actually thought about, dude, I'm just going to watch this movie. But then I'm like, there's no way. This book came out in what, 80, I can't even remember what, 86. I guess that's actually when it was published, I guess. Okay. I was like, there's no way that this movie from 1990, like, did that,
maybe it's really good.
You're right. I mean, I will say Gary Paulsen did actually was part, he did kind of in the background of the movie, but it starred Jared
like Tarantino.
Rustin. Yeah. It starred Jared Rustin, who was just coming off of his Big and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Okay.
Fandom there. That's the level that this
movie.
Actor. 100%. And then I don't know if he did any
popular, by the way.
Yeah.
It's anonymous. We get it.
Yeah. And then also, so the author Gary Paulsen, he writes these survival kind of based and centric books. He himself he is a survivalist. Like, he lives on the land. On top of that, he's actually completed the Iditarod, dog sled.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Oh shit! That's
Yeah.
cool.
So it's not
Good for
just
him.
some, it's
So
not
Gary-
just some guy or
Yeah.
some person in the background that's writing about, doing all this stuff and hasn't. This guy's actually done it himself. That's
It's
awesome.
not J.K. Rowling writing about wizards when she's not a wizard herself.
I know, right?
You can go. That is an acceptable answer too.
The problems you were going to mention about her, that was not the one I thought you were going to go with.
Yeah.
My number one issue.
She's not even a wizard.
She
or
doesn't
witch,
have the
whatever.
experience.
She's totally stole it from another wizard.
She did.
And then made them
Totally.
forget with one of those forgetting spells.
But yeah, those are just some things that I just kind of ran across while kind of looking through the book.
Very interesting. So
Yeah,
that's cool. I looked up a couple of things myself because there were a couple things that struck me or just kind of registered with me. One was,
David, if it's about bear attacks, I swear to God.
of course it's about bear attacks.
And
Aaron, we have to drink every time.
that's it.
Ninja
You know the
Blade is
rules.
bear
David
attacks.
mentioned bears attacks. Everybody bottoms
Aaron
up.
literally has a bear on his beer glass.
Yeah, but I didn't say anything about it.
He's got you there.
But I
Bear.
just thought it was interesting that he runs into a bear and he survives, and it got me thinking. And it's not the first time I've thought this, obviously, but I was like, how often do people survive bear attacks? So what I did find is, like, from the website I found, that there's really only about 40 bear attacks worldwide each year on average, which is really not that much.
That we know about.
That we know about. That's true. And then I think it was about 4% deadly, something like that. And there's only about 11 in North America, which is, over a quarter in the world, but 11 in North America, which just takes place in North America and Canada. So
Do they break it down by like location, like state or territory?
I didn't get that deep. I was just looking for pure numbers, but
He was like, no, I didn't page 3 Google this thing. If it wasn't in the top 4, I didn't see it.
You didn't ask like what constitutes as a bear attack? Like, does the bear have to actually touch you? The bear does.
Yeah.
It's a podcast where we drink beer, guys. I'm not going to get that.
Does it break it up into like sexual attacks versus non-sexual attacks?
Are
or
there such a thing as
or
non-sexual
violent
bear
attacks?
In New York, sexual bear attacks are considered particularly heinous crimes.
Also, fun fact, about 1% is by a bear on cocaine.
You are playing it fast and loose with the term fun.
And with cocaine, because
Yeah, this episode of Hatchet is sponsored by Cocaine Bear.
How could you not be fast and loose with cocaine?
I think that's all you can be with that. Yeah.
But another thing I thought was interesting, and I guess I've never really thought about this, but when there was a tornado that he survives towards the end of the book.
He just went the gauntlet with
He did.
with
Like
everything.
every survival situation
Yeah.
he could run into, he kind of ran into, which I
the
did
the
like.
famous Northern Territory.
Okay.
I did think it was funny,
What are the
though.
odds that
So
all
he-
this happens in one?
He has a very close call with an angry moose that attacks him a couple of
Mhm.
times, or it's really one time, but it charges him a couple times in the same
Yeah.
instance. But I love the line where so that happened before the tornado, and
Mm-hmm.
then afterwards, when the tornado's over, he says, "I hope the tornado hit the moose."
Yeah, definitely.
And I thought that's exactly what I would have thought in that moment.
I did
it's
want to touch base real quick before we get past the book. We had kind of touched base on it earlier, but this is a 13-year-old kid that gets lost. He survives. He survives the initial plane crash, but he already has all this stuff going on through in his mind. In his view, his family is falling apart, and he knows, basically he knows information that his mom has already been
Keeps
seeing
calling
someone.
it the secret.
He keeps referring to it as the secret. And it's crazy because Aaron, I think you had mentioned it before, pretty much like every day he gets a little less focused on that, like his older, I guess you could call it his city life. And he gets a little more focused on, I'm looking for food, shelter, and not to die. you know,
Right.
and he does, through the course of these 54 days, he, like any normal human, he has some dark times
Of
in
course.
this. He
Right.
almost, or he, in his view, misses out on a chance of getting rescued, and it pushes him down a path, just briefly. And I think we talked about it just briefly, that this book very much, it addresses the fact that he slit his wrists,
Mhm.
but then the book moves on from it. It doesn't sit there and dwell on it like, it doesn't sit there and tell this long drawn out story and yada, yada, yada. But it is, in my mind, something that is something that is in someone's head, that has been in the
Of course.
wilderness that long, that has been living off of berries, and is just now, it is barely, knows how to catch fish.
Especially a 13-year-old kid,
Yeah, especially a 13-year-old kid.
And I mean, I guess it's like the whole, like, I don't know, not thesis, but like the whole like background like noise of the book of that, like, and the fact that it's named Hatchet is that what kind of helps him keep his humanity in some way throughout that process is that hatchet. The tornado happens, and the plane comes up out of the water, and he dives in there to try to get the safety thing, which I love that entire sequence of after he gets the safety equipment and like the rescue equipment on land, and how like it's just kind of over. That entire set of his is just over. He has food. He has everything's like readily, which is like it's a great metaphor
He
for
knows
like
how to live.
Yeah, he doesn't need it, but it's all there all of a sudden. But he drops the hatchet into the bottom of the lake during that thing, and it freaks him out. Like, it's not like this, like, okay, adapt, overcome. But like, he mentions it at the time, I believe, that he talks about like he's like thinking of like essentially that one object is like not only a tool, but it's like that's his connection to remaining a person.
Right. Well,
And
and so it should be mentioned that the hatchet was given to him by his mother right before he goes on this trip to meet his dad. And the reason why he's on this small plane flying out over the Canadian wilderness is he's going to meet his dad in the oil fields, and it's the only way to get to him. And when he gets the hatchet, he's like, okay, great, my mom gave me a hatchet, I guess I'll stick it in my belt or whatever. And there's a reason why the book is called Hatchet. Like that, without that hatchet, like that hatchet's kind of his best friend, like almost another Castaway reference, like almost his Wilson. Like he needed that hatchet to keep him grounded, like Aaron was saying.
I just really like that part where he loses it, and that was like a visceral. To me anyway, as I'm reading, it's like a visceral reaction of like, shit, I got to get this fucking thing back. Like, it's just like a big moment of like, I got to get this. Like, this is like, I cannot do what I'm doing without this object.
Right.
And whether that's true or not, I don't know. But because he had learned how to
agree.
fish, he learned how to do all this other stuff.
Yeah, I agree. That was kind of a pivotal moment, because you saw, so he had kind of transformed in this survivor kid, and kind of had lost all that. But as soon as he let that go, when he was underwater and he was cutting into the airplane, you saw all those emotions rush back into him, because he knew that, like, that was like his one connection back to the life that he had before, but it was also the connection to the life that he had now, But yeah, so the story goes on. He goes through these things, and what I kind of felt, and apparently a lot of people felt, that the story ends, kind of resolves itself in a very abrupt way.
Absolutely.
It's like legitimately in a matter of a chapter, he is in a tornado and then done. He is saved, and he is, he is back home.
He barely got to enjoy that survival pack from the plane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if he did. He drank the orange drink.
Yeah, self that little meal or whatever, right? And that was kind of it.
And that was it. And so a lot of people kind of pushed Gary Paulsen to say, like, hey, what can you give us an alternate ending? Okay. And that's actually what Brian's Winters is. So it's what if Brian didn't get saved at that point and had to go through winter? He's never been through winter. He wouldn't have access to the lake. He wouldn't have access to fish. He wouldn't have the berries would be gone. The berries were already kind of the weather was already changing a little bit. And So that's what Brian's winter gives you in this whole kind of series. And it kind of goes down the line. There's the river, Brian's return. These are all basic. Brian, some reason someone talked Brian to going back to that same lake.
Wasn't it like the government or something?
Yeah,
like
it was it was like they wanted to find out like what did he do to survive. That's the river. And of course the person he's with gets knocked out and Brian has to take him down.
Not
build a raft
again.
again. I know.
It's like
Not
Macaulay
like this.
Culkin. It's like Macaulay Culkin syndrome. Just,
Yeah.
just
What does your dad do, Kevin? What does he do?
He makes so much money.
Yeah. But that, in a nutshell, is Hatchet. To me, again, the reason I had chosen this book was because this was always one of my favorite books growing up. And it to me, brought me. It's kind of what started, not even knowingly, kind of started my whole kind of. I enjoy watching, learning, and talking about the survival stuff like the Survivor Man we talked about. This is Les Stroud as a child, and Les would be proud because no one in their right mind goes into the Canadian wilderness without a gun or a hatchet.
he'd be proud.
Yeah, good job, Brian's mom.
One quick question I have for you guys is, if you were in a survival situation for this long and you were rescued, what would be your first meal?
I would have to say, I think I would just go for just as good a pizza as I could get. Because by that point, I look at it as I might have been able to get meat, chicken or bird, or in this case, small birds. He may never eat fish again in his life.
Chips, that's for sure.
But what he wasn't able to get was carbs. I'm not the health part out of the equation.
Yeah, I think I would craving?
Just go. Yeah, I think I would just go full on. I want, full blown best pizza that I could get.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking the biggest basket of steak fries I can possibly find. Honestly, I kind of want that all the time. But
spoken like a vegetarian.
I'm saying some steak fries, and then honestly, so whenever I go camping for like an extended period of time, I really crave like a burger, just like a shitty. No offense to our sponsors, Burger King, but like a Whopper, like a big,
you have to keep half of it in a wrapper or whatnot because it's
slides
so
out
greasy and it's so good. I'm sure.
That's when I've just been dirt. I'm still dirty. I can't. You can't eat something like that and have already showered. It's like going number 2 after you shower. You can't do it. You gotta do that and then shower. That's how I feel about.
You guys ever we've had that. We've all had that experience where we hike the entire day. Say we do 6 9-hour hike and we're so hungry. We might have even eaten on the trail.
Oh, definitely.
We get back to our car and we're just like. We want a burger. We want, something that just is
right now.
Yeah. And if someone tries to talk to me about should I or shouldn't I eat this, I'm going to just uppercut them. No questions asked. Yeah.
You mind your own business.
Yeah. What about you, David?
I think I would go for some good old Texas barbecue. I think I would want some pork
What if you're
ribs.
in Canada? What if you're Canada?
At that point, would I care? Just give me some pork ribs. If you have brisket, give me some brisket. Give me some potato salad, some macaroni and cheese. I think I would go to town on that. I'm sure it would just wreck all of my digestive system.
Everything we're talking about right now, we're all
it would just be so good.
It's actually probably a good thing that he got rescued right as he found all that actual
he may have had some
and everything. He needed to get out of there.
Yeah, because what you're probably going to actually eat the first thing you do is hospital food. So
yeah, exactly. The so kind of moving on. At this point, we really, we have our beers. Did you guys? I will say. I mean, we can do another break.
I got one whispering in my ear. I think we need to go take a break.
Yeah. All right, beer break.
Beer break.
All right, welcome back. For the last beer of the night, we typically we always want to kind of bring in some camaraderie, so we always try to do a toast. I'm the host tonight. So I will say this toast comes to me. I have no idea who this person is. Elizabeth Warnock Furna. And I would say raise a glass to, Hatchet tonight. Nobody is ever met at the airport when beginning a new adventure. It's just not done.
Nice. Cheers.
I mean, it's just say
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, yeah, cheers.
cheers. There you go. I don't know where she's from. I don't know who she is, but
She's got a great
that one
name.
just
Good
that one
strong
just but so we also want to know what are we doing this next what's our next book? And so the way we do it is we each kind of take turns choosing a book, and they are the host of the show. This next one is Aaron. Aaron, welcome to the show. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that intro.
That's my radio voice.
That's my radio voice. Better than it could be. So the next book, obviously all of our books are really circled around adventure, circled around maybe sometimes survival, maybe sometimes great quests even. This one's going to have a little bit of everything. So I'm really excited to share with you guys this book that I read this last summer that I'm really excited to read again. It's called...
Do not say the Bible.
I'm going to need a minute then.
You've already tried to make us read that.
Damn it. All right. Well, we'll till next time. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever. So the next book that we're going to be reading is called The Dog Stars by Peter Heller.
All right.
It is. I'm gonna give you like a really quick I'm not going to give you a synopsis, but I'm going to give you the genres as listed on Google Books: novel, science fiction, adventure fiction, dystopian fiction, apocalyptic, and post-apocalyptic fiction.
So it's based on a true story.
Weirdly, Peter Heller actually has a book called The River as well.
Correct. I actually almost picked that one because I could have picked any Peter Heller book. I really enjoyed his work, at least the ones that I've read. He's got some more I haven't been through yet, but the Dog Stars, it really resonated with me. It's a very enclosed story. It's not super long. Well, there's a book that I was considering, but it's a little long for, I think, our tastes.
Yeah. Can I read this publisher's summary, even if it's just the first one sentence or two?
Totally, yeah.
Please do.
It says, Higgs survived the flu that killed everyone he knows. His wife is gone. His friends are dead. He lives in the hangar of a small abandoned airport with his dog. His only neighbor, a gun-toting misanthropic. I don't even know what word that is.
Like a misanthrope.
Oh, misanthrope. What the hell is a misanthrope?
Well, Matt, I guess we're going to have to look up the dictionary, aren't we?
Here, yeah. Look, now we have to look this up now.
It's just somebody who doesn't like society, who doesn't like...
Okay, a person who dislikes humankind and avoids human society. All right.
You can see why I identify with this.
Yeah.
I mean, after that synopsis, why wouldn't you want to read this book?
Hey, man, not only did I get to read a book, I got to learn a word today. Yeah, that's good.
Just one word. He read a book and learned one word, folks.
One word. One word.
Anyway,
hey,
I think you guys are going to really enjoy it.
I look forward to it.
It looks great.
I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It's not super long. There's planes again, so that's cool. This is not a plane podcast, everybody. This is not.
Yeah.
My book did not have planes.
No. I don't even know.
A thing yet.
No, your book didn't have planes. I mean,
planes weren't like invented, right?
They were not.
No.
Unless you count Da Vinci, I suppose.
Do you?
So they were not. Yeah. So they were not.
So we have agreement.
Huzzah. Yeah.
Huzzah.
So that's our next book for the next show. Read it. We usually try to do these podcasts about, I think we shoot for once every 2 weeks, once every 2 or 3 weeks. We all have, unfortunately, we all have lives.
For now, grow the show.
For now, things going on.